Be kind of quiet. I'll speak up, but I'll use my presenter voice when I'm getting ready to talk. Okay, and then if, so I have another person here in with me, so if you have anything that, like if you can't hear me, or if the internet suddenly goes wonky, or the audio goes wonky or something, please throw it up in the chat, and we'll be able to see that come through. And then at the end of this, so what the plan is I'll present on what we have here. And feel free that as I'm presenting and you have questions, feel free to throw that in the Q&A section. I will get to that at the very end of the presentation. But if you have anything else, if there's something really important that you want that needs to be shared or something, also feel free to put in the chat. We'll take a look at that as we're going along. The Q&A will probably be the most helpful part as we go along, to make sure that you feel like your questions are getting answered right now. Obviously, we are all trying to get through this together with the coronavirus and everything that we have affecting businesses. It's affected us, it's affected our clients, it's affected the world as a whole. And so we're trying to keep everything moving in the best way possible. So I'll jump in. So my name's Patrick Knoll. I am the Director of Organic Marketing here at Oozle Media, which means I'm in charge of a lot of things anything related to content or SEO, posting on organic social media, helping out a lot of our fulfillment members and supporting our account managers here at Oozle Media. And so I have several years of experience in SEO, and I love it. And I went to school for journalism, actually, and so I'm very familiar with content writing and social, because both of those are big for news places in particular. So what I really hope to get out of this is that you can understand some of the things that you need to know right now for your Google My Business page in particular, and then also some things, some ideas, and other things that we're suggesting to our clients that we feel are helpful at this time, and that we would love to help you out if we can in any way, shape, or form. We really want to try to get through this together, is the hope. So let's talk about Google for a second. Google, realistically, they feel that one of their main responsibilities right now is to help their users, which basically is anybody who makes any sort of search on Google, so all of us, to find accurate information during this time. And so what they're trying to do right now is get that accuracy of information out. So a couple of methods that they're doing that to kind of help out. One of the things that they're doing is they're using a AI tool, and I'll have a link on the blog that we'll be posting later and on this slide to show you what they're doing. But they're using something called Duplex, which came out earlier last year, and essentially it is an artificial intelligence that can call and sound like a real human, and they can use that to check for business hours. The previous ideas to use this were actually to schedule salon appointments and restaurants sections, almost like a mini Jarvis per se. But they're using this right now to kind of check up on accuracy of information for the Google My Business page in particular. And they can go in and make changes without your authorization. They've always been able to do this. This isn't abnormal for Google. But they can go in and make changes to your business. For instance, they can go in and say that your location is closed based off of the government sources that they have, or they can do it based off of the duplex. They can go in and do that. So if you've noticed, you'll need to go into your Google My Business page, and I'll give you some ideas on how to do that. But you'll need to go in on your Google My Business page and be actively monitoring and making sure that you don't have inaccurate information posted out there, or that you're marked as temporarily closed, but in all actuality, you are receiving calls, or you're helping people in some way, shape, or form. If you're a restaurant, you do have like a takeout or a curbside pickup option, something like that. You need to be able to keep that information accurate. Google wants that. We want that. Everybody wants the correct information coming to them. There are a variety of businesses that can add like delivery, takeout available. They just actually made an update since I made this slide to say that pretty much any business can edit the business name to add a small bit of information. I wouldn't go overboard on that and say something along the lines of like, Oozle Media, we are open for anything that you need and calls, and you can do this, that, and the other. Don't go too crazy with that, but if you have a simple one phrase message, especially if you're like a restaurant or a salon or something that can do a takeout option or a curbside option, put that information in there quickly. Otherwise, we're going to be recommending some other things, which I'll get into as we go along. Another thing that they just updated this morning, I was going to say that they're adding an option, but they have already done that this morning, is you can add an option to mark your business as temporarily closed. So I had our wonderful graphic designers make most of these slides, but this is just a screenshot of what it looks like. So if you go into the info tab on your Google My Business page, so you go to business.google.com and log in with whatever email that you have to claim your Google My Business page. Go ahead and log in with that, and then it should show up there. If you have never claimed your Google My Business page or don't even know what I mean by saying that, go to our website, www.oozlemedia.com, click on the Contact Us, and send us a message, and we will get back to you and try to help you with showing you how to get access to that page in particular, so that you can make sure that your business is still alive and doing well. So here is basically once you get there, you'll log in and then you'll go to your info page, and this is where you can edit any of your information. This is where you can edit your name. Here at the very top, where right there it says Oozle Media for us. And then I've marked out over here in red, you can mark a location as temporarily closed. Now, the advice that we're giving to everyone here is that you should not mark your location as temporarily closed unless you are in all actuality not receiving any sort of business ventures. You're realistically just shut down completely. What this does, because what it does is if you mark it as temporarily closed, it gives the impression that you are closed for business. You have no option of doing any sort of business with you. And we know that if you have somebody who wants to give you their business, or wants to give you their money, or wants to talk with you and be engaged with you during this time and may convert at a future date, you want that business right now. And so if you have any option to keep yourself open in some way, shape, or form, don't check this box, okay? Also, if you are going to mark yourself as temporarily closed because you're just having a shutdown, whether that be, your own decision or the decision may have been made for you, don't mark yourself as permanently closed either. The permanently closed option is essentially for businesses that no longer exist. That is just not a business anymore. And so that's been an option. The market's permanently closed. That's been an option for forever. And it's something that I would definitely not recommend using at this time unless you're permanently closing doors, in which case you have my sympathy. Sorry for you. But at this time, try to keep everything open as best you can. So that's just kind of some of the breaking news that we have kind of per se this morning, and that we want to do that. The other thing that we want to check, that you want to check in on is you see in the top right corner, there's some limited functionality. There's some edits that may or not get accepted at this time. Google has also taken all of their workers who usually approve these things offline. Or not offline, out of their Google campus, and are now trying to also do what the rest of us are doing, which is work from home a whole lot more often. And they don't necessarily have everything set up that way. I've listened in on a few other webinars from people who have like a gold membership with Google and have a little bit more insider information. And they said, yeah, Google wasn't as prepared for this as you would expect them being an online giant. So one other thing, so getting back to kind of the importance of the accuracy of information for Google. One of the things that they have done, and if you Google COVID-19 or coronavirus or anything like that, they've created their own homepage on Google. This is very rare. This never happens for Google. They do not have this little sidebar of information. They don't have ongoing news. They don't have, the statistics here. So a couple things that from an SEO perspective that I don't like, and then there's a couple things that I do like from a user point. From a user standpoint, this is simple. This is something easy to use. It keeps me updated, and it's something that I like as a user because I cannot go to a website and see the information that I want to see. From an SEO perspective, it's bad news bears because there's only a select little bit of information here that can be displayed, and the Center for Disease Control, which is the main department, or you can see we're in Utah, so you can kind of see behind the design here, that's coronavirus.utah.gov, or whatever state you may be in, there's likely to be that same thing. You can't click into that quite as easily. It's not at the top result and not the first result. So you'll likely see, if you're trying to push anything as a news organization, you better be showing up here. But if you are a typical business, I would be aware of this that is happening, and that in the future we may see more designs like this from Google that continue to limit the amount of information that your website portrays, but rather information that Google crowdsources essentially from your websites and pulls up. There's different implications that have that for different industries. We've already seen, places like Expedia, get huge hits from Google Flights. So this is something for us to keep an eye on as an SEO person, but it's not anything that would be detrimental at this point in time. Let's get back to the business side of things. So when you get in to your info section, the number one recommendation I'm making for you guys to indicate closures of time or changes in the times that you are open is to do it in the special hours or holiday hours section. If you're closed for certain times of day, if you're not going to be open in your normal business hours or whatever it is, go in and add it as a special hours. The reason why we're recommending the special hours section is because you are allowed to put that in for a finite amount of time. You don't have to go back in and update the full logistics of everything on your normal hours section here. You can just put into the special hours a time frame that you're going to be using these hours. Some of you may know what that time frame is right now. A lot of you won't because it's still up in the air. It's unprecedented. You can put this for a 2-week time frame. Here at Oozle, we started with a 2-week, work from home policy, and then we've recently extended it to a larger amount of time on there. This is a place where you can more easily update that, and it will update your hours across the board. It will supersede whatever hours that you do have on there when that applies. Typically, you would have these special hours for if you're not open on Martin Luther King Day, or you have different hours for New Year's Day or something like that. That's where you typically do that. You want to have this updated pretty much anyways for your holiday hours and holiday closures times. This is something that you should be doing anyways, but right now in particular, it's even more important so that you can give that accurate information to your users out there. This is the holiday hours or special hours section does have those limits, and it allows you to be able to find ways to what we're trying to do here is be able to find ways to make it so that you can have a one-time place to update those hours, and you're doing it in the right places. So this is one area that we would recommend to put into for your hours. The second place is you can use Google My Business posts and your business description to communicate any recent updates. With how Google is right now, Google realistically, and this is something that a lot of SEO people have been saying over the last little while, your homepage realistically is actually Google. The first place that somebody gets an impression of you is Google. And so Google My Business posts and updating the business description is the first place that people can look to get an invitation to know more about your business. And right now, you can put up an event post. I wouldn't necessarily use an offer or the what's new. The what's new section stays up for 7 days. The event section can stay up for a longer period of time. Again, just being able to control your messaging helps out a lot. I wouldn't necessarily add the time to it, but you can add a simple photo in here. It doesn't have to be anything other than something with your brand colors and says COVID-19 update or something along those lines. You can get fancy if you want to on this, but you don't have to. And then if you scroll down below in there, there'll be an event description, and in there you can put whatever updates you need to in that area. I would highly recommend keeping this up to date as best you can as you go along. This is something that we're doing for our company, for our clients, that as we get information from them, we can add this to their pages as we know more information. We also have put up things like blogs and website updates and whatever else to then show where that can go. I'll talk about that a little bit more as we go, but that's something that we really need to make sure that we have a big, you want to have a place for everything to go. If you're having trouble with any of these sections here, there's a variety of ways that you can reach out to Google My Business themselves, or we have a lot of experience working with Google, and we know certain places that work well or not as well. Typically, we start with the Google chat, and then we can move on to other places. Google has recently removed all of their phone call options, except for one case where you can request a phone call. I have all the links to what you need to contact Google My Business in the different ways that you can do so on the blog that will be posted shortly after this webinar. But you can use, there's their chat support, which is down on the bottom. You can use Google My Business Twitter, Facebook. You can request a phone call, but I wouldn't be too high on potentially getting that from them. And you can also send them a direct email to do things. Again, realize that Google is focusing their attention on medical places and other places that are the most need right now. So your business may not be quite as priority for them, and they're still working on transitioning their workers into an online state. We're all kind of doing the same thing. We're all trying to figure out what to do in these unprecedented times. And so know that it can take a few business days for things to get updated. Push on it as best you can, but there's only so much sometimes that finite amount of manpower that can go into some of these things. Okay. Just as an update, Google has shut down all new reviews, responses to reviews, and the Q&A section. They did this because their intent is to not let somebody have a bad experience and then portray that on a Google My Business page. Google wants to show accurate information for a normal time frame, right? Right now, we're not living in normal times, and Google wants to make sure that they display what looks normal. And so what they're doing by not allowing reviews, not allowing responses to reviews, and not allowing Q&A section, it's an effort to protect a business from getting a bad rap when really they shouldn't be. There was an example would be, say you have a 24-hour grocery store near you, and they decide because they need to like really heavily invest in restocking that they close from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. or something like that, and then you go at midnight and you're the time to try to avoid people, and you see that it's closed, and then you go on a rant on Google saying, why the heck is this place closed? I didn't have my information there. What's going on? It protects the business that way. They can still use other review platforms, I guess, to do that. We'll have to monitor and see what that can do. For our clients, some of our clients have us to go in and respond to reviews. Obviously, we can't do that right now, but we can pivot and adjust and check on other places like Facebook or Yelp or Angie's List or other places like that, provided we have the login information that we need, and respond to reviews there appropriately. I do think that that's a very important thing to kind of keep an eye on, because people look for outlets to express frustration. They do this in normal life. They especially do this when they have far too much time on their hands being online in a place. This is a place where you can, so you can see some positive or negative effects depending on how that goes. I was talking with a client about this yesterday, having been shut down, and the question was, is once Google kind of gets out of this and they allow reviews to come by, will they send those reviews live that may have been left during the shutdown period? There's no precedent that they would. So we're gonna have to see. My guess is that they will not put those reviews up there, because right now, if you just go to any sort of Google page, you can go in and leave a review. It just won't show. My guess is that they will not put that up because it's during this freeze essentially, and it's not a normal time frame. And so they probably won't do that, which kind of hurts for people who are trying to get Google reviews and trying to increase this. One of the number one things we recommend to our clients to do, because it helps so much with your reputation, your SEO, your local SEO in particular. It's part of Google's algorithm. I'm very sure that Google will adjust their algorithm that they typically have for quote unquote review velocity on things. But for now, this is kind of a big deal for Google that they've shut this down, and we'll have to monitor it and see. We'll provide updates to our clients as they come along, and hopefully we can have another webinar or another talk session about this. But it's something really important for everybody to keep an eye on. Okay. So let's talk about your brand. This is one of our clients that has a really well fleshed out brand presence, and this is something that we do for most of our clients. Google, since it's the homepage of your internet, you need to control that brand image, and you need to be able to say, are these the messages that we want out to our customers right now? Your PPC ads, do they reflect the right messaging? We're going through massive updates on our PPC ads to make sure that the messaging on them feel appropriate for the time frame. We're potentially shifting some of our PPC ads into social, since a lot more people are going to be living there. Stephanie, our COO, gave a really great presentation on some of the things you can do on social. I highly recommend you check that out if you haven't yet. But this, you can see here from a simple brand search, when people get to know you, you need to be able to control this messaging. If you don't have access, so KSL here in Utah is kind of like Craigslist, but very localized to the Utah, kind of maybe in the Idaho area, but mostly Utah. The BBB, reviews from the web from Angie's List, reviews on Google, your name, how you look up in the top part. If you don't have access to these things, if you don't have your brand name up there, your message is being controlled by someone else. And you need to have that message under control for yourself. Your brand is your number one asset. And during this time in particular, you need to protect that brand and make sure that you are set up for success there. This is something we recommend regardless of the time frame, regardless of the times that we're in, because your brand is your best asset, and you need to know where all of your what all of your brand assets are doing, especially as using Google as your homepage. Go do that exercise right now or right after this webinar. Go check on it. Make sure that you're showing up for the things that you should be showing up for. And if you don't know where you have access to this, or if you don't have access to it, go find that. Get your PPC ads into a place where they can be the right messaging, protect your brand. People ask me sometimes, like, you're an SEO guy, why do you talk about PPC? And why do you talk about Google ads? part of the search engine results page. It's part of what Google does. And so it matters to me. If there's a Google ad on something, I need to know about it from an SEO perspective because it affects the rest of the organic rankings. And it affects how many times people click into things. And it also affects your marketing as a whole, which doing good SEO is literally just doing good marketing. And so take some time to go do that and just check up on it. Make sure that the things look about right. If they're not, take the time to go make them right. This is a great time to start doing the things that I say. These are things, this is something we'll get to eventually. Now's the eventually time. We'll talk about that as well, okay? So, give information. You need to have your social media, your Google My Business, your website all up to date so that those who want to know about what's going on with you can know. I also recommend, you've probably seen the jokes on Twitter about getting emails from people you signed up to 3 years ago and how they're helping you and during the COVID crisis. May not be relevant to you from that perspective of email. However, if you were an active user of that information or of that service, then it's really important to you right then, right there. Okay, so make sure that you're getting that information out the best way that you possibly can. This is also true during non-crisis times. Google accounts for things like content freshness and answering your searchers' queries on your website. This is something that you need to be doing all the time. You need to have great information on your websites. Great content leads to great SEO. It's not the other way around. You need to make sure that you have viable information out there. Something that we're doing for our clients as we get more information is we have basically kind of a news style running update blog, giving any sort of COVID-19 updates. I don't recommend doing a new blog every time you do have a different update. It doesn't make sense. You probably won't have enough information for it to be a true blog anyways. You need to be able to put into one blog and just update it as you go. The other thing that we're also recommending to and helping our clients with is getting up a website banner of some sort that says, hey, for the latest, check out our blog here, or visit our social media, or if you need to get a hold of us, you can call us, or our offices are currently shut down and we're pushing out appointments 2 weeks, but in the coming days we will have more information. Sign up for our emails so that you can begin to know when things get back to normal, stuff like that. Those are all things that help people. Information is gold right now. I mean, almost worth as much as a roll of toilet paper or hand sanitizer. We know that information helps people feel secure, and it helps people understand that you care about them. We want to also focus a little bit, since this is talking about SEO, is that search volume is going to be different. It's going to vary on a per industry basis. We work with a variety of industry. We're known for working with beauty schools in particular, but we work with dentists, we work with plumbers, we work with restaurants, we work with event centers, we work with a variety of different things. Each industry is going to be affected in a different way. If you're an event center, you're probably not getting a lot of hits right now, just because there's events are not advised during this time. But that doesn't mean that there's not people who are going to be out there searching for it. There's going to be a shift in how that search is done, though. Some of that search will be moved to places like social media. Again, go check out Stephanie's blog and webinar on this, because it really helps you understand how to increase your brand impressions and awareness so that your search volume for your brand continues to stay, or will increase once it's done, once the COVID scare is kind of done. Search volume is going to be different on a per industry basis. It's not going to be more just because there's more people online. It won't be less just because your services are not being offered. It might be. What you need to do is you need to get on to places like Google Analytics. You need to get on places like Google Search Console. You need to get on any rank tracking tools that you may be using, and you need to make adjustments incrementally as you go. We are highly invested into these tools of Search Console, Google Analytics, other places, and we're keeping an eye on things. And it gives us the clues to understand what adjustments we need to make at any point in time. If you need help getting access to your Google Search Console or Google Analytics or getting those installed, let us know. We'll do what we can to help you out during this time, okay? For our clients, we are proactively checking in on some of these things. We are adjusting what we're doing for the marketing budgets that we work with based off of the information that Search Console tells us, based off the information that Google Analytics tells us. Google Search Console, for those who don't know, it's an organic, it tracks all organic traffic, meaning traffic that comes through Google that's not a paid ad. It doesn't track any traffic from Facebook. It doesn't track any traffic from Pinterest. It only tracks what people are searching for you and what pages you are showing up within that search query. It's a great place to be. It's something that you should be checking on regardless, but right now more than ever, you can get data which allows you to make decisions. Data-driven decisions are better decisions. If you have snap reaction, emotional decisions on a lot of different things, you probably won't, you're gonna be, we like to liken this to driving a car, and if you're one of those people that's like constantly jerking the wheel going one way or the other, you don't have a set plan, you don't know where to go. Data allows you to stay in place. A lot of what you do for SEO is what the data tells you. You have to be able to interpret that data and go from there. So it's something that you'll need to keep an eye on and adjust accordingly. For most of our beauty schools right now, I'll just kind of, because we are heavily invested into the beauty school industry, for a lot of our beauty schools right now, we're seeing a pretty big drop in clicks overall. We're seeing a rise in impressions, meaning people are still searching, people are still trying to find you. They may just not be clicking into your website quite as much. They may not be finding, they may be ignoring the ad and they are clicking into the Google, into the organic places a little bit more, okay? So PPC, that's what we're seeing, or Google ads, we're seeing a lot of rise in impressions, lowering clicks. And Search Console, it's a little bit of the same. A lot of people are making different kinds of searches. They're getting their information directly from Google. They're not necessarily digging into your website as much. And so you got to be able to do what you need to do to proactively get in front of those people. And we think that's an important aspect right now. Okay? Keep calm, do good marketing. Okay? Yes, this is a time of unprecedented changes and things that we just don't know what to do. And that's probably part of the reason why you're listening to this webinar. Part of the reason why people are Googling things. Part of the reason why people want to have information. The biggest thing is you got to keep calm and continue to do good marketing. You may have to pivot on your strategies, but you need to do that. The Small Business Administration from the U.S. government recommends during any time of crisis that you spend at least 5 to 7% of your revenue to be kept on maintenance for advertising marketing. Keeping your SEO marketings on when others can't or won't does pay dividends in the long run. Now, you may need to make adjustments further on this. We understand that, just because it's a general recommendation, it may not apply directly to you. We've all had to make hard decisions about what to do with our dollars, what to do. We've had to have some clients who are like, hey, I need to pause on my marketing efforts just because I need to make payroll, right? I need to help my people. We get that. We understand that. We want to make the adjustments that you needed to. But if you can, absolutely keep whatever you can on. SEO is a long-term investment. It is a great time, as I said before, to get to those things that you're like, I need to get to that eventually. Do that. Work harder. Push through smarter, and do what you can. Something that we've been passing around quite a bit is saying more millionaires are made during a recession than they are during any other time. It's because those are the people that are willing to continue to work hard and keep their brand alive and pushing. We want to push with you. We are willing to pivot our strategies as we go along for our clients, and we want that to be a big part of who you are. we know that there are so many things that you can do, and so we want to make sure that you do them. So here are a few ideas that we have and we've discussed with a variety of people for your marketing and SEO budget. Number one idea for your SEO and marketing budget is start posting on social media. A lot of people don't think that there's any relevance between SEO and social. They're very distant. It's Google versus Facebook. It's not true. They don't, Google and Facebook, yes, they don't like to play nicely together. But real human beings get on Google, they get on Facebook, they get on both of them, YouTube. They don't care, right? They just want to get the information that they want. Something that Stephanie shared yesterday on her webinar is this thing from Allbirds, and I love it. I think it's great. People are sharing real things about their business. They're sharing company culture. What this does is it allows people to get to know you, and it allows them to trust your brand even more, and they will recognize you. And when the time is right down the road, they'll say, oh yeah, I remember them. They were these people. Or yeah, I resonate with them. This is a time to what we call strengthen your tribe or your following, so that your customers and potential new customers, they have more trust with you. They want to do business with you. They appreciate the effort that you're putting in. So go ahead and share those pictures from your work from home pet mascots. Share ideas related to your business that can help people cope with boredom. Talk about your values. Be relatable. Sorry about that. We're right next to the police station here, and so we just had them go off. But do all those things. This will increase your brand awareness and help your SEO in a trickle-down effect. It is remarkable how this happens every single time, okay? Another thing that you can do is go ahead and interview and record your employees and your customers and their experiences with your brand. Get that database of knowledge on video or in a blog or in written format of somehow, some shape. These can be reformatted into blogs, into video content, into testimonials, into case studies, things that help beef up the content of your website, therefore boosting your SEO value overall. Video is trending highly for 2020 for SEO efforts. You need to be in video. If you have any way of cutting together video and putting it out there for the masses, Google is ranking more and more video snippets within their search engine results. It is an important part of any SEO strategy in 2020, regardless of the crisis or pandemic. You can prep for that right now by getting the raw materials, and then when the time is right, get ready to start releasing those materials out to the world. A recent study that I just read said that nearly 66% of all informational queries, or what we like to call middle of the funnel queries, people who are looking for information about something that you can provide an answer, have some sort of video on that search results page. So it's incredibly important that you're able to get there. So related to that is you need to be able to get your assets in order so you're ready for when things get back to normal, okay? Do you have a full marketing funnel? Do people know about you? Do you have awareness type of blogs? Like, hey, did you know that, how can I apply to beauty school? Or how can a plumber actually help me? Like, I can do this on my own. Things like that are helpful awareness things. You need to then have interest-based, decision-based, and action-based content throughout your website so that people can go down that marketing funnel. Marketing funnels are something that we are super into because it helps define the user's journeys. It helps have levels of content for everything to go. So if your assets, if your content, your video, your website, other things are just kind of everywhere, that was a great time to get them back together and ready to go, so that when things take over or when things kind of get back to normal, you will have a solid game plan going forward. SEO is a long-term investment, and you got to have assets to invest in. And so getting those in order right now can be really helpful. You also may need to go check out your blogs, check out your website. Do you have good images on there? Do you need to go take some more images? Do you have do you know what contents and other strategies were working best, right? Can you go through your analytics? Can you go through Search Console and check that out? We go through on a regular basis for our clients and update content as we go. It's one of the top things that we've seen to help increase SEO value over time. Number 4, host webinars and virtual meetings. I mean, that's what we're doing, trying to practice what we preach a little bit here. But if you're in a B2B space like us, it allows you to get some FaceTime or some talk time with real people and build those relationships for the future. If you're more B2C, having somebody on hand to answer questions right away is critical. You might be able to show off your culture to a potential student or customer. If you listened in to Chris Linford and Rob's webinar that they gave, they had a lot of really good ideas to help admissions reps and customer service representatives overall to be part of that experience right now. Having a live chat feature can also be really helpful to help people connect with you virtually, because that's literally all they can do right now. Instagram, you can be consistent on having stories or having a live update or whatever that is. Continue to try to have forward-facing agents is critical, okay? The content that you've already built out, and that's beautiful. Some of the things that we've been doing for one of the places that we have, Aveda Inspire Greatness, is we've repurposed a blog into some beautiful stories. You can start doing that right now. Take the content that you've already had and build it out for the discovery of your brand. I have a few resources listed in the blog out there that I have, but take them, turn them into videos, social posts, infographics, slideshows, ebooks, webinars, whatever you can do to get your audience. You must be able to create that best in the world content, because that's what allows people to link back to you. And if you have it in a variety of formats, it'll just opens up more and more opportunity. The next thing that we say is work on getting reviews in places other than Google. Get good positive reviews that show up on Google. You bet your darndest that people are checking it out elsewhere. You need to do that. A recent study that came out last year, the end of last year, said that 82% of consumers read online reviews for local businesses, and they spend nearly 15 minutes just reading those reviews before they make any sort of purchase decision. Start making templates. Start getting in there and responding to other reviews in other places, since you can't do it on Google. We have a training out there for you to do that. We want you to be able to be successful, because it's one of the number one things that we recommend outside of, we say do it for Google, and then the next thing we say is also do it on Facebook. Do it where your audience lives. And our final recommendation here is get your website fixed. Okay, not everybody's a developer. Not every developer is a good one out there. Just go on your website and just look at it. It's amazing to me how many times I talk with a business owner and they're like, "Oh, I didn't even know that was on my website." I'm like, well, it is. We've been working on it. Go in there, find out, does this represent who I am? Are there pages that need to be consolidated, cleaned up? Do you love what you see? Are there pages that feel like they're broken, that they're just not quite right? If there's enough of those things that are off, you might consider getting a new one. Good websites take time to build, and so if you're able to invest in a good website now, it'll be ready to launch once things normalize, or they should be pretty close. Recommend having CRO set up in order to do that. But go in, take a look at it. Just experience it as a real person. You may not be a developer, but you are part of your business, and you want to be well represented. We treat a website like Rome. All of the roads lead to Rome. And so if you are there, if you're trying to get people to you and then your website's not a great experience, you will lose conversion along the way. So anyways, just to wrap up, we know times are a little tough right now, but push through it. Let us help you. We know that there's a lot of things that we can do out there. I'm going to get into the Q&A. Looks like we got a couple of them here. So somebody asked, how can beauty schools show on Google My Business that their salon is closed, but that they are open for virtual tours? That's a great question. So what I would do there in that case is on your business name, you would first say, so say this is for, insert your favorite beauty school name here. Okay, so beauty school, and then you put dash open for virtual tours. Okay, typically with our Google My Business pages for our schools that we work with, specifically, we put the salon open hours on there because that's typically what the vast majority of people are looking for. So what you can do is you can put those holiday hours or those special hours on there to say that it's closed, right? To say that you're closed, but then I would put very boldly in the title that you're open for virtual tours. You can also update your business description down below that to say, let me just kind of pull up our, see if I can exit out here. So if you go into so if you look at Oozle Media's page, you can see a business description right here from Oozle Media. So if you can put here in those first few words, during the COVID-19 update, during COVID-19 update, we cannot be open for our salon right now. Or if you are open, say what you're doing to potentially have an impact on there. You can say something along the lines of, we're open for virtual tours, or we have a live chat on our website, or you can call us and we'll schedule one with you, or whatever that may be. Anything that has to do with that, I would put it right here. You only get so many words to start out, so you may have to play with what that looks like from your end. People can always click in and see more. Most people won't, but if you can put it here, and then the other place you could do it is updates from Oozle Media. Treat this like you would your social media feed. You can put it right in there and put in a post of some sort that would show how that looks. Okay. I don't see anything else on there. Thank you, Chris, for putting out the two links out there. Please go in and check that out. We know that it's important, and we want everybody to be able to feel like there is that there's hope at the there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Check out our blogs, check out our webinars. We're trying to provide out as much information as you can. If you need any other help, go click into our website and just hit that contact Oozle button, and we'll try to help you out. Thanks, everyone.